Hey, what's up guys, it's the Polo Uchiha here, back with the next part of What If Naruto Had a Dinosaur as a Pet. And before continuing this part, I would like to make a little bit of announcement. I will be busy with the next 3 days because my uncle is getting married, so yeah, I'm busy there. And thank you for your congratulations if you did any in the comments. And yeah guys, it is pre-recorded video, so bear with it if they are small or large, I don't know yet. And without further ado, if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's continue with our story. Here's your first mission, Kakashi chirped, offering a scroll to them. Naruto took it cautiously. Opening it up, Tarko stuck her snout over his shoulder, tilting her head to see it better. Walking the dogs, Tarko tapped. Fascinating. She backed off slightly, shaking her head and body. It won't be hard, right? Danromi chirped. She had picked up Morse code quickly, although didn't use it much. Not really, we may want to assist them in herding the dogs, should they prove too much difficult. Danromi chirped wordlessly, amused. Naruto, those are too big for you. Tarko nodded. If he tries those dogs, we'll have to save him, probably. Danromi snorted, then sneezed right after. Her tail whipped from side to side and she adjusted her wings. You'll just have to herd them then. I won't be able to help. They are all bigger than I am. Targo shook herself. We'll see. I'll manage, Naruto told her, after she was clearly finished chatting with Danromi. I'm pretty strong. It's how strong you are that is in debate. Tarko tapped dryly. Naruto pouted at her. When they received the dogs, Naruto almost immediately tried to dislocate his arms. Targo chipped in laughter at him, and then growled at the dogs, thoroughly terrifying them, and halting all attempts to tear Naruto's arms out of their sockets. With Targo's assistance with the dogs, they were walked, and the mission was completed. Grocery shopping for some old was an adventure. Targo didn't see the problem they had with her, although Danromi was mostly cooed over and called cute, something that made the tiny dragon ruffle her feathers and prance like a peacock. Why aren't I called cute? Tarko asked. You have too many teeth, Danromi chirped. Mine are just blunt and cute. You're too big to be called cute, Sakura informed her. You're pretty. Tarko preened. Thank you. And this is the Tora catching mission. The bane of every Genin since the first Hokage. What is this Tora? Tarko asked cautiously. A cat. And no, Tarko, you can't eat it. It must be caught unscratched. Tarko huffed. It's a mission. I wasn't going to eat it. I can grab it. My teeth won't injure it. Danromi chirped happily. Alright, I want a C rank. I am so done with the D ranks, Naruto declared. Tarko bobbed her head. That last mission, the cat one, was it? I am so done. We can handle a C rank, Kakashi sensei, Sakura insisted. Let's do it, Danromi declared in human tongue. Tarko was probably the least surprised. She had heard Danromi practice human sound for the last 2 months. Naruto kept, Danromi, you can speak? Danromi preened. Of course I can. Why can't Tarko? I don't have the vocal cords for it. Tarko tapped, wrinkling her nose. Maybe I can get Gigi to pair you up, Danromi. Does the speak and stuff for you both? Naruto said, grinning widely. I don't think the Hokage would agree to that, Kakashi said mildly. Naruto pouted. Oh well. So can we go get a C rank mission? Kakashi sighed. I suppose I can be talked into it. Let's go. Danromi chipped in victory, flapping up to bed in Kakashi's hair. Tarako snorted at his entirely uncaring expression, trotting off to lead the way to the mission desk. We're gonna get a C rank, Naruto chanted quietly on their way to the mission desk. Team Salmon, here to get a mission? Would like a C rank, Gigi, Naruto shouted as soon as he entered the room. The Hokage sent a raised eyebrow at Kakashi, clearly ignoring the dragon currently sleeping on his head, amidst that mass of silver spikes. Kakashi nodded, but not too much so as not to disturb Danromi. Tarako made a purring noise when the Hokage selected a scroll from a different pile than the usual one. Alright, your mission is to escort Tazuna-san to his home country of Wave and protect him from bandits while he finished the bridge. Bring in Tazuna-san, please. Tazuna wrinkled her nose. Tarko wrinkled her nose as an old drunk came in. He reeked of alcohol, of the sea, of ways too many things to name, or even what to name. He kinda smelled like something had crawled in his clothes and died. He reeks. Danromi chirped to Taroko. You don't say. The raptor replied sarcastically. I'm totally not standing just 4 feet away from him and can't at all smell it for myself. What are those? Tazuna shouted. The fact there were a living, breathing dragon and dinosaur just 4 feet away, apparently finally breaking through the haze of alcohol. Targo is a dinosaur, Kakashi said, patiently pointing at Tarko. And Danromi on my head, she's a dragon. Tazuna looked horrified. Don't worry, Naruto said, grinning at him. We'll keep ya real safe. You're just kids. Tazuna sounded as horrified as he looked at Tarko, felt no remorse in laughing at him. We are far from merely kids. Tarko tapped. She said that we're far from merely kids, not translated for Tazuna. She can speak in Morse code? Tazuna looked rather faint, but nodded. The Hokage smiled. You leave tomorrow morning. Dismissed. Team 7 nodded and left. Tazuna met them at the gate the next morning. His pack on his back, the others with their bags as well. Targo carried much of Naruto and her stuff, as she was best suited to it, able to carry it and not be a hinder in combat. Not much at least. Shall we leave? Kakashi asked, sound almost amused as he took in Naruto's minimum backpack and Targo's covered sides. What was that about? Tazuna asked, ever the innocent civilian. Tarko shook her head and snorted. She chirped to Danromi to translate while she was walking. Just a bit of body disposal. Nothing you need to see, Tazuna-san. Danromi translated that, curling deeper into the spot she had claimed on Kakashi's head. Body disposal, she calls it. Sakura muttered. They were getting rid of the bodies. Sasuke pointed out. I would have thought you would have recognized that. Sakura blinked a few times, then frowned minutely. Tarko snorted, rolling her eyes. Let's pause here, shall we? Kakashi said, eyes smiling. We can get an early start on the boat. Tazuna nodded and pulled his backpack off to drop it on the floor. Works for me. Tarko chipped in agreement, moving so Naruto could find the scroll he had put his tent in. Personally, Tarko much preferred sleeping without a tent, so they never bothered with one for her. With camp set up, Tarko toddled up to Kakashi. Permission to hunt, Captain? You know, Sensei is the usual address here, Kakashi noted blandly, not bothering to look up from his book. With all due respect, Captain, when you teach us something, I will address you as my teacher. Until then, you are simply the mission leader. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at her. And if I give an order? Still my captain. Sensei teaches things, usually. Captain gives orders and leads missions. Fine, you can hunt, Kakashi said after a long period of silence. Targo chirped happily, perhaps a bit louder than was necessary, but no one could prove anything, and darted off, basically disappearing as she hit the trees and blended in. Sasuke had started a fire and set up sticks for cooking meat by the time she had gotten back with her catch. 2 rabbits and a random grouse that really shouldn't be wandering this area. Who's cooking? Targo tapped carefully, not dropping blood everywhere. I can, Naruto sighed after a moment when nobody volunteered. He took the 2 rabbits from Tarko, leaving the area to skin and gut them. Tarko set the grouse to the side, spitting out a few feathers. Stupid grouse. Freaking out and got feathers everywhere. Tarko tapped, settling down next to the fire, curling slightly so her entire left side was closer to heat. They do that? Danromi nodded, hopping down to the nose of grouse. Smells weird. Tarko sniffed the grouse too. I figured that was just the difference between chicken and grouse. We haven't had grouse yet. Danromi picked it up, flapping over to Kakashi to check. She said, check, she demanded. Kakashi obliged, sniffing it closely. Smells like grouse, but I'll do a poison check. He did it quickly, checking the results. It's a common pesticide, not lethal to humans or large predators. Even Danromi shouldn't be fine. Although use of these pesticides has been banned from the Land of Fire for a while. The grouse must have obtained it from outside of the Land of Fire, probably brought in and escaped. It's fine to eat. Probably more dangerous to leave to decay, actually. Oh, cool, Danromi muttered, flapping out to curl up on his head again. Other than the pesticide thing, most of the trip went fine. Tarko smelled the people following them first, then Naruto found the rabbit, which did not smell like any of the indigenous species, and their followers attacked. Tarko let out a piercing screech to warn her teammates, and Kashi apparently got it, because he tackles his students to the ground, leaving Tarko to get Tazuna, which she managed just in time, hooking her teeth into his shirt and pulling him down. as she flattened herself against the ground. The massive sword flew over their heads, embedding in a tree across the road. Well, 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 what do we have here? A mocking voice asked. Its owner materialized on the sword. Tarko stood up and growled at him. An animal? He asked suspiciously. Kakashi managed to stand up as well, Janromi standing on his head and puffing up her feathers to look bigger. Two then, he amended, raising an eyebrow at the tiny dragon. Second one looks pretty useless though. Danromi's feathers puffed up further and smoke came from her mouth, but she held down her fire. Hey, don't diss my nin animals, Naruto shouted at him, getting a little puffed up himself. The nin snorted. Please, they're more like nin shrimps, although the bigger one looks like it. Might even be able to kill a bunny rabbit. Tarko growled again, louder this time, and flashed her teeth. The nin growled right back and flashed his own sharp teeth. Tarko was of the opinion that her teeth was far more impressive. Zabuza Momochi, Kakashi said. He ranked missing nin in the bingo book, Demon of the Mist. Ah, you know me, Zabuza remarked sarcastically. Shall I return the favor? Kakashi Hatake, he ranked Konoha Shinobi in the bingo book, Sharingan no Kakashi. Sasuke looked confused. Tarko almost pitied himself. But he hadn't bothered looking up the teacher in the bingo book, so he wouldn't know that. Tarko had bothered looking him up, and it said he had copied over 1,000 jutsu. Personally, Tarko was wondering why he couldn't just teach them, a few of them at the least. He had to know at least a few D ranks once. Sweet on. Hiding in the mist, Zabuza said, grinning as he disappeared into the fasting and scorching mist. Danromi breathed a deep, blowing out a stream of fire, vaporizing some of the mist in the surroundings area just in time for Zabuza to have to redirect an attack on Kakashi. Heart, liver, spine, Zabuza remarked lazily. All wonderful places to kill a human. Yes, we know. Danromi replied sarcastically, spreading her wings in an unsuccessful, intimidating technique. Oh, the small one can talk. He sounded almost disinterested, and Tarko put her nose to the ear, trying to find him by the scent alone. Confusingly, she could smell him for 4 different locations. Wait, she smells more like fresh water rather than the salt water he sunk off. Tarko lunged for the one that smelled right, snapping her jaw shut on a thin air he had moved. There were more freshwater versions of him. Tarko quickly sorted through the influx of freshwater scent to find him again. She narrowly dodged a clumsy kunai thrown by Naruto. She let out a barking of warning before lunging and deflecting the massive blade for herself. Quite a few scales coming off with the sword. Tarko grunted, feeling the blood seeping from her body, smelling it as it hit the ground. His blood needed to be spilled today. Also, that would need to be bandaged soon. She could afford to lose a bit of blood, but not too much. She nodded to Tazuna, then leapt after the real one again, only to be intercepted by Kakashi, who looked sternly at her. Protect Tazuna, Tarko. Tarko growled at him and shook her head. Danromi figured out the problem and translated after her, growling out another stream of fire, evaporating some of the mist. She's the only one that can find the actual him instead of all the water clones. Kakashi looked frustrated, then accepted. Fine, but I do the actual fighting, Tarko. Tarko growled, but lunged at where she could smell the actual one. He tried to attack her again, but Kakashi intercepted, holding the massive blade with a pair of kunais. The water clone attacked Tarko from the side, but when she tore into it and exploded into water, she realized they were far less powerful than the original one. She lunged after another, tearing it apart as well, pausing momentarily to shake off the water before lunging again. A kunai impaled itself in a clone as she had pinned down, and she paused to note that Sasuke who'd thrown it before leaping at another clone. With the clones down and Kakashi and Zabuza fighting with jutsu on the water, Tarko limped back to Naruto and the others standing in front of them, ready for anything else he'd try and throw at them. Naruto tried to touch the large wound on her side, and she absently hissed at him. He stopped quickly and instead set about removing her harness with its scroll. A few of the straps had gotten damaged, and it was about to fall off anyway. Naruto quickly tied it to his own back with a bit of assistance from Sakura, who apparently knew how to tie knots. Tarko kept a close eye on Zabuza and Kakashi while she checked her injuries, long scarred on her tail, from being thrown into a few trees. The large wound on her side that was already clotting the slice on her lower left leg, the one on her right thigh, and the smaller scarp on her neck. All in all, not too bad. She had gotten worse as a hatching, trying to take down bigger stuff than her. She would heal in time. The boys executed an interesting maneuver, stunning Zabuza and allowing Kakashi to pin him down. Tarko glared at the second person that had been following them, appeared and took Zabuza. Unfortunately, as she couldn't walk on water, she couldn't stop the person. Kakashi managed to stumble back to land before he passed out, leaving Tarko to hold him up despite her own injuries. We should go get bandaged. Tazuna spoke, gesturing to Tarko's injuries. You don't say, Tarko tapped sarcastically. So done with everything, especially their captain. I got that. Sakura, check Kakashi-sensei for injuries, please, Naruto said, pulling the first aid kit's roll and unsealing bandages and some antibacterial stuff. He carefully wiped Tarko's injuries down, bandaging them as he went. When he was done, Tarko carefully stood up. We can place Kakashi on my back, carefully. He's not that heavy. But you're injured, Sasuke said, raising an eyebrow. Tarko sniffed impatiently. I can handle far worse injuries than this. Thank you very much. Danromi hopped onto her head and settled down, purring softly. Sakura and Sasuke worked together, managed to get Kakashi settled on Tarko's back. The dino thanking the fact that Naruto often needed her to carry the deer they killed after the Nara, and the fact that Kakashi wasn't all that heavy. Despite having sustained worse injuries previously in her life, Tarko gratefully collapsed when they arrived at the house 4 hours later. The other arranged Kakashi on the bedroll attached to his backpack. They settled it in themselves. Tarko, with some difficulty, stood up, making her way outside. She settled down in the bushes besides the door. Danromi joined her after a bit. Doing something? There's no guarantee we won't be attacked in the night. Tarko chipped quietly. You know that you have to rest as well, right? You're not immortal. I know that. I can rest while they're awake. Danromi sighed. Tarko, I'll keep watch and wake you if someone comes. You're hurt. I'm not. Tarko narrowed her eyes, but emphasized. Fine. The sun woke Tarko in the morning. She yawned, startling Danromi. You're awake, she gritted. Tarko trailed in agreement, gently moving her tail to check it. It hurt, but not as badly as yesterday. Standing up, a spark of chakra against her skill marked Danromi holding on. So Tarko stood up heavily, favoring her injured leg. Hopefully we have time to recover before the man comes back. Danromi nodded worriedly. You're injured pretty badly. I can still hunt, Tarko replied. I have to be able to. If you insist, Danromi said worriedly. Thought I'd find you out here. Naruto nodded, yawning as he came out. Come on, we gotta change your bandages. Tarko nodded, following Naruto into the house. The woman inside freaked as Tarko came in. Previously, Tarko hadn't seen the woman, although she had smelled her. Tsunami, this is Tarko. She's my ninja dinosaur. Naruto chirped. Tarko snorted, nudging Naruto roughly. He stumbled forward. Hey! Bandages! Danromi asked, flapping from Tarko's head to the table in the middle of the room. Tsunami squeaked. And what are you? A dragon! Danromi chirped. I'm Danromi. Oh, right. Alright. She managed, turning back to the stove. Please, inform the rest of your team. Breakfast will be ready in a few minutes. It's the least I can do. Me and Tarko will grab our own breakfasts. Danromi assured the woman. But I'll tell the kids. She hopped onto Naruto's head that time, curling up in his hair. They walked upstairs only to find Kakashi awake and trying to get up. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said, clearly distressed. You can't be walking yet. Sit down, Captain. Tarko tapped, settling down herself and giving Naruto access to her injuries. Breakfast is portable after all, and I will not be a crutch or a stretcher for you again. Is that how I get here? Kakashi asked, amused. He did cease trying to stand up though. Yeah, we managed to get you up onto her back and get you here, Sasuke said monotone. Naruto started changing Tarko's bandages. Probably lucky Tarko didn't collapse halfway here. I'm fine. Tarko tapped tail, swishing back and forth in few times. You're no more fine than I am, Kakashi noted. At least I'm not chakra deprived. Tarko deadpanned. I can work past my injuries and wasn't ever in a real danger for dying for them. You really were. Chakra exhaustion isn't something to play with, Captain. Whatever the case, Tsunami says dinner will be ready in a few minutes. Or she did a few minutes ago. Todoromi nodded. You guys can't hunt right now, Naruto said. Maybe in a few days, but we don't want this infected. We have enough sorted and stored. Tarko nodded, resting her head on the floor. I'm unsealing some when we head for breakfast, Naruto promised. Within a day, Tarko was recovered mostly and Kakashi was up and walking around, albeit with the assistance of some crutches they had found. Alright, Kakashi said, eyes smiling at them. Let's learn how to climb trees, shall we? I don't have the arms to climb trees. Tarko tapped Kakashi while giving Kakashi an unimpressed look. Oh, we're not going to use our arms, Kakashi said, still eye smiling. Sakura raised an eyebrow. And how the hell are we going to do that then? Kakashi walked towards a tree, then stepped onto the vertical surface, calmly walking up the tree. Oh, like hanging onto someone's head, but while walking, Todoromi reasoned. Chakra. Sakura said, getting it first. While saying it first, Targo totally understood it first. She couldn't just say it fast enough. Exactly, my cute little student. He walked back down, tossing kunai at the getting. I assume you can mark your own tree. Targo experimentally slashed the tree, yes? Todoromi hopped off from her head and perched on Sasuke's head, somehow attaching herself to one of the nearby trees with chakra. Easy. I can't fly. Tarko chirped at the dinosaur. Not as easy as you think. There was one major problem. While the others could just run up the tree and fall off, then try again, they wouldn't exactly work for Tarko. Her tail and general body shape mostly got in the way. Try laying on the ground sideways and rolling onto your side and sticking that way, Todoromi suggested. As she had nothing better to do, Tarko settled down on the ground, rolled onto her side, and started trying to stick her feet to the ground. I made it! Sakura cheered a moment later, looking down at them all from a higher branch. Good job, Sakura. Why don't you go keep an eye on the builder? Kakashi suggested, eye smiling at the girl. Sakura nodded, walking down and then walking away. You better hurry if you want to catch up to her, Kakashi sang, leaning against a tree. The boys, previously having been staring after Sakura with open mouths, quickly went back to running off to their own trees. Tarko got it after another hours and a half, Sasuke getting it not too long after. Tarko stayed and waited for Naruto to get it, hunting in the surrounding areas if she got too bored or angry. After a while, he fell asleep, so Tarko settled down to watch over him as he slept. It was probably good, as a person with a similar scent to the person that had taken Zabuza wandering in, beginning to pick herbs. Tarko growled lowly and the person startled, finding the raptor glaring at them from the 2 feet away. Hello, the person said. Hello, Tarko tapped impatiently. Why do you work with Zabuza? And why shouldn't I just kill you here and eat the body? How do you know that? The person asked guardedly. Tarko tossed her head. I have an excellent sense of smell. I would have stopped you, but I can't walk on water. Now, why shouldn't I eat you? As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part off, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.